Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're grateful you can join us for another week.
We definitely are.
And we're very fortunate today. We have Aurora Luna Star. She is an interdimensional channel specializing in starseed, Akashic records, sound activations, and personal empowerment. Through her channel, Aurora connects with the elders of the cosmos, accessing light codes via sound messages, images, and light language. Her purpose is to guide you towards embracing your fullest potential, acting as a catalyst for your personal growth and transformation. Her greatest joy is empowering each person to realize their unlimited nature and see themselves for the master beings that they already are. So welcome. We're really happy that you can be on the podcast today.
Research.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Barb. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about your journey and where you are in your journey? How you kind of got here?
The never-ending journey. So, when I had turned, I guess, about 39, I had already learned how to be a Reiki master teacher and to teach another healing modality. And I did all of that while working for corporate America. And basically one day I got to my desk and just started crying because I could feel that I was not living alignment. I was not living resonance. I was not living my truth. I was not being utilized at the office where I was to the fullest extent of my capacity. And I was bored a lot. I was on Facebook a lot. And I recognized that none of it made sense. I was making a ton of money, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled in any way, shape, or form. And at that point, I had gone on several spiritual retreats, and I was kind of offered a job in Mexico for spiritual retreats where I could utilize my skills from corporate America down there.
Nice.
So I quit my job and I packed my cat and sold my car and, gave up my apartment and the whole nine. I was living in New York at the time, which is where I'm originally from. And I went to Mexico on a wing and a prayer. And when I got there, I found out that I wasn't going to be hired for the job. So Spirit was very sneaky because there's no way I would have moved to Mexico if I didn't think I had a job waiting for me there. And there's no way I would have moved to Mexico in general because I didn't really speak Spanish very well. I was living in Merida, which is a large expat community. So there were a lot of English speaking people there. But this was my initial real initiation into, choosing my spiritual journey, my spiritual path. I was only in Mexico for about 7 months before I moved back to the States, and then had another failed attempt, if you will, but it's all perfect. I thought I would move to England, so sent the cat there too. But I only flew on a one-way ticket. And so they did kick me out of the country because I wasn't allowed to be there. They interviewed me and I kind of got stuck with my foot in my mouth about what my plans were. And so I stayed in New York after that a while longer. And Mount Shasta then had called me to be there. And at first in the dream, I was asking well, am I going to facilitate a retreat there? Because that doesn't mean I'm moving there. But Spirit called me to actually move to the mountain. And so that's where I went in, I guess it was early 2016, 16 or 17. I don't remember, somewhere in there, 16, January 2016. So I drove cross country, of course, packed the cat again, poor guy. Was my spiritual teacher on so many levels and just had so much patience with me. And Shasta was almost more difficult than Mexico. Mexico was amazing, but had a lot of challenges to overcome. Mount Shasta was the same. A lot of spiritual lessons, but funny enough, at the end of that classroom, I was living on College Avenue and I felt like I'd finally, that's when John Burgos found me and offered me my first interview. My life started to really open up spiritually, but also, my business and my expansive reach, if you will.
Right.
And by then, Spirit said, well, you can't stay in Shasta. And I was like, well, what the what? I finally feel happy here.
What are you doing to me?
Yeah. Well, Mount Shasta is a town of 3,000 people. And while Sedona is only a town of 10,000 people, we get more than 6 million visitors a year.
Wow.
And the opportunities and the facilities for exponential growth are here. In fact, I'm about to play and do my sound healing. And so I do vocal activations and also my singing bowls in front of an event for 700 people that will include Bashar and Wendy Kennedy and Anita Morjani and just Linda Howe, all these very established, if you will, some of the original way showers of our community. So I'm super excited for that. And that opportunity would have never come if I were living in Mount Shasta, right? Yeah. So when Spirit guided me here, I was really sad to leave Mount Shasta, but I have to say that since I've been in Sedona, when you follow your guidance, Spirit always shows you why, even if you go kicking and screaming. And that's pretty much my personality. I'll go, but I'll be mad at you. You want me to leave? Why am I leaving? I'm perfectly happy here. Well, that's kind of the point. We got to the point, figured out all the lessons you needed to learn.
That's what it is.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And
for sure.
And I wouldn't say the lessons have stopped simply because I've been living a very blessed life here. Of course, the work is, my awareness is as long as we are in this very dense package that we are currently inhabiting, we're merely peeling back layer after layer. It's not about reaching perfection. It's about the awareness that the more kindness and compassion and forgiveness and love we can live with, the more we can just heal those fragmented pieces, because of course the soul is already aligned to divine perfection. So we're just taking those fragmented experiences and bringing them back into integration with the whole. So, I've done a fair amount of healing here as well. It won't escape you. Wherever you move to, wherever you live, there you are.
Yeah.
That's right.
And at the same time, my gratitude is in the fact that I am aware that, especially this year, a lot of expansion has been offered to me, and I, with humble gratitude, am accepting the role of that expansion. So here we are.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Sedona is such a beautiful, magical place.
Oh yeah, it is. So
the energy is there is incredible. I got the opportunity to go probably, I think it was about 6 years ago now, and go check out some different places. And yeah, it was magical, and you could feel that energy there. So I can certainly see why it would call you there to do your work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, Barb, go ahead.
No, you have to go with the flow of where you need to be, right? I was doing the same thing. I was here and there and there and there. Didn't know, but the lessons that I learned along the process was great. Here I am now. So, it's we have to follow it in order to find what we need. Sometimes it takes longer than others.
That I'll say for sure. I just had my 49th birthday. And so, over the course of the past 10 years, I have been on the spin cycle more than once, through spin cycle, I don't know, with some rocks thrown in, because eventually.
A little bit of grounding, right? Or not grounding, but some rocks right now would be good. I don't know about you, but I find things are just flying. It's like we're on hyperspeed moving ahead. And it's since since the year began, it's like, holy cow, slow me down a little bit.
For sure. I have a 80-pound wolf dog. And so Finn keeps me very grounded and very present. And I'm out on the land a couple of times a day. And so having him as my partner in crime, as it were, he helps a lot, keeping me in my body and making sure that I'm taking care of him.
Yes. And we need that, right? Something to ground us down, because I think when you do the energetic work, you're in such a different realm, mentally, that you need that grounding to counteract that, to bring you back down and just give you a base and a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Do you find that, or?
Oh, I mean, so I'm an Aquarius with an Aquarius rising, which just basically means I'm a whole lot of air. And so my moon is gratefully Taurus, but we are beyond our astrology, but in this moment, we're also impacted by it if we're not paying attention to it, is how I understand it or I see it. And so as I start my day, Like I'm very well aware the first thing I do is I open the bottoms of my feet. I connect in with Gaia. When I walk with the dog, we sit on the rocks. He doesn't like the sitting part, but he tolerates it. And I sit and I talk to the realms of Gaia and to Mother, Father, God, and to, all of the earth, because I feel part of our purpose in being here is to really be here, right? So yes, when we go into meditative states, we can go really far out, but the purpose is to be the conduit between heaven and earth so that we're anchoring all of those frequencies into the body and into Gaia and into the present moment. And so it's truly important to get grounded on so many different levels, whether it be just to be present in the moment with the people that we're with and to let them know that we're really fully giving them our attention. If it's to making sure that you're not putting your keys in the fridge and, your glasses, all the things that we do when we're rushing and we're not, again, getting into full presence. It's funny. I had a meeting before this and I called my friend and I said, I'm stuck in traffic. I don't think I'm going to make it on time. And he's like, well, let's just push it back. And I said, that would be great, because I really don't believe in rushing anymore to get anywhere, to do anything. I pay really careful attention to my physical body, what I'm doing, how I'm feeling. And I'm really paying attention to conscious creation, because I think what a lot of us forget is that we're always manifesting. But you want to be manifesting from a conscious place and not from an unconscious place, right? But we're creator source beings, so we're always creating. But are we creating from panic, from anxiety, from rushing, or are we creating from conscious, present, presence of being? And that's where I want to make sure that I am manifesting from.
Absolutely. And I can understand that, because I am usually a very organized kind of, that's my personality, right? And this last few days, I know that I'm shifting in myself and in my surroundings and things, because I'm so scattered. I can't remember. I'll be having a conversation and about midway through, I forget what I'm saying, which is not at all like me. And it's like, okay. At first I was like, am I losing my mind? Like, should I be worried? Like, am I, getting dementia or something early on? And I thought, no, you need to ground down and get connected back into your energy, because you're shifting and so you're scattered. So I can feel that. And I feel like 2024 is really going to be a time of people, especially in the energy field, shifting their energies.
Yeah. I would say 110% that this year has a lot of swirl, is what I'm calling it. And that swirl can be just the feeling of chaos. And it's not to put people into fear, because there's no point in that, no matter what we're experiencing. It's just an awareness that people are going to have a lot of opinions and have a lot of fear energy. And that fear energy can be contagious, because we are a collective, right? So it's going to be a great exercise to pull our energy back from collective consciousness and then bring it into unity consciousness and return our energy back to our source, so that we're not allowing other people's fear, other people's anger, other people's whatever it is that they're navigating, right? We're all very empathic. We're very sensitive. So this year is about really grounding and strengthening our energy field. People talk to me all the time about protection, but to me, you don't need protection if you're grounded, because if you're grounded and centered in your body, then you're very well aware of what the energies are and what you can do with them. And the answer is usually to just open your heart chakra a little bit wider, and anything that is not love is going to be repelled by it or transformed by it, either way. But as we navigate a lot of change, and people are scared of change, right? Everybody wants the status quo, because humanity loves predictability. The challenge is we're not in a time of predictability anymore, because that time is complete. We need the vibration of every one of us to shift. And, not everyone is here to do the shift. We don't have to convince people to be love and light or whatever that means. There are people here to be the loyal opposition that will help shift consciousness, right? Sometimes we shift by knowing what we want to stand in opposition to, right? I don't agree with that, but I don't have to fight it. I can just choose my own vibration
That's right.
within that,
Yeah.
right? So that's a lot of what's happening. We're going to see more and more chaos because we're really not living in alignment with each other or the earth. We've really lived lives of convenience for a very long time, which has had an impact on our soil, our food, our relationships with one another, a lot of greed energy, and then a lot of checking out, a lot of people becoming addicted to different substances or even just television, because it's easier to hang out in that energy, or video games or whatever it is for the kids. It's easier to be in that vibration than to really look at what's happening. And so our job is going to be, again, that energy of coming back into the present moment, being really grounded and knowing how to take care of ourselves, so that as this swirl happens, whatever it is, whatever it looks like, if it's something like COVID, okay, or if it's something worse or not worse, whatever it's going to be, doesn't really matter. What does matter is, where am I in that? Am I adding to the energy of fear, and am I spinning myself out? Or am I staying grounded and hearing my own source, my own channel, my own connection to my soul? And can I just hold that field, knowing that I'm safe, I'm okay, and everything's going to be okay, right? We're here for this shift. So, it's going to be important to keep coming back to center and finding that grounding space.
And embrace it, basically, right? Embrace what's happening. Yeah. I know this morning with myself when I was driving, our temperature, by the time this is done, it will not be the same weather. But this morning coming in, I was going to make some calls. Everybody I tried to call to talk to was busy. So I said, okay, well, I guess that. And I started looking at the road, and it was covered with snow and blowing snow, and I could hardly see the road. And I thought, that's my meditation. Spirit's telling me, meditate on your drive here. Don't go to sleep. But meditate, this is your meditative time to just, hey, get yourself in order, because your day is going to be busy, and accept that. And it was just so pleasant the rest of the trip. It was like, yeah, this is really cool. I don't have to worry about anything. The angels are with me today.
And it's, my truth is, the angels are with us every day, right?
Yeah.
Like, we are constantly being called back to this energy of the ascended masters and the angelics and the elementals and the galactics. All of this beautiful energy source is available to us all the time.
Yep.
But again, if we get stuck in the mind, if we get stuck in anxiety, if we get stuck in what we need to do, and we're not paying attention to getting centered into presence or the present moment, then anything can happen. It's actually good when you're in the snow, when you're navigating snow, to be paying attention and using that as a meditation. Because if you're on the phone, you might not fully be paying attention to something that could be important, right? So you listen to your own guidance, and you got where you were going easily and safely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was about. It was like, there you go, girl. Thank you.
Fantastic.
And I did, I got here just fine. But yeah, if you pay attention to everyone that's trying to get a hold of you on a regular day, keeps you busy, and also keeps you protected and walking in the direction you should be going in, instead of getting lost en route, all the time. So it's nice when you're going where you should be.
Yeah, it is. I feel this year is really, and like when you were talking about energy and stuff, I feel like this year is really, it feels like the messages that are coming in have to do with lack, as well as chaos and connectedness. So I just feel like these are lessons, and these obstacles are being put out there for us to learn, about honoring Mother Earth and doing these things. And so by not honoring it, maybe the crops aren't going to grow as well, or maybe that. Are you feeling any of that energy, or kind of energies are you feeling?
For me, what I'm feeling is actually a really expansive year for those who, again, like when you start consciously creating, you have an awareness of what is in store, because you've been really focused on your heart and on offering of, there's two ways that we manifest concurrently. And the first is through attracting where our vibration is, meaning you can't miss anything that's meant for you based on your vibration.
Right.
But you also get to put in a request, right? I believe in the co-creative process, that it's not just that I'm going to vibrate high and awesome. I'm going to say, hey, and I also desire all these things, but, and I'm not going to be attached to how they come to me or when they come to me. I'm just going to put in the order and let spirit get back to me in good time, right? In the perfect divine timing. And so in terms of the year, I feel like a lot of people who are doing this work are going to start to see more and more how their vibration is impacting what they're experiencing.
Okay.
Right. So that can be lack, but it can also be oodles of abundance.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I feel like we're starting to look at this year, the real energy of creation, and that when we stay in our center, when we stay in the present moment, we really are safe. We really are protected. We really do have everything we need. And then you listen to these guidances that may include, maybe I need to start planting a vegetable garden, and I'll raise the beds, and maybe I'll do a greenhouse or keep it indoors, you know, because everyone's living in different climates.
Mhm.
But I feel as though those inklings are coming through more and more.
Mhm.
And even the inkling to connect with farms that are growing, you know, crops that you know it's your local somebody,
Mhm.
and getting in on a co-op with that. I feel like a lot of bartering is going to start showing up in our fields in general. I feel like we're going to, over the next 10 years, look at a shift in our economy. And it's already started, so
Yeah.
it's not anything to be afraid of. I don't see an actual collapse of anything. I feel like all the energetics behind things that are not in alignment with our well-being, they've already shifted, but it doesn't mean that we see it in the outside world quite the same, because dimensionally speaking, they're not dealing with time the way we deal with it in the 3D, right?
Mhm.
But what's already started is, you know, cryptocurrency and NTFs, NFTs, I don't know, whatever those
Yeah.
things are.
Yeah.
All, yeah, I don't even know what they are, but I know they're there. And, you know, and then there's bartering, and there's trading, and there's, you know, just showing up out of the kindness of your heart for the people that are in your community and offering things, donation and whatever. All of that is already building a new foundation back to really an old foundation, truth of the matter. That's how things were before this currency became agreed operated frequency, where lack was a thing at all, right? Lack isn't real. It's a consciousness.
That's right.
It's as real as you make it in your own belief system. Now, I get it. If you don't have a lot of money in the bank account, you're going to look at me and say, Aurora, I've got $20 in the bank. That's real. And I can't argue with you about that. But what I can say to you is, if that's your focus, then that's where you're going to keep creating lack over and over and over again. If you start identifying yourself as an unlimited aspect of source is not navigating lack at all. Source has every resource at any moment, and we're a spark of that.
Yeah.
So if I elevate my consciousness to the awareness that I could have whatever I want, truly, I mean, I get it. I'm not going to become a New York Knick, and that's okay. I'm not tall enough to play basketball, and I'm not sure that's really what I want to do with the rest of my days on this planet. But the point is, if I desire certain things, there's no reason why I can't have them. It's the belief that I can't have them that keeps me from manifesting them into my field, unless it's really against the grain. I know for me personally, we're all here to do what we're all here to do. But part of my mission is I'm not allowed to get off track. I have free will, but I'd say that I get smacked when my free will is really going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's true for everyone or not, and it doesn't matter. I don't need to, feel special about it. It's just that everyone's got a journey, and my journey's got a very specific dots that I've got to connect. And so spirit keeps pushing me towards those dots, and occasionally I hit the brick wall, and that's okay. But nonetheless, when I'm creating, I'll speak for myself. When I'm creating, I am aware my truth, the very fiber and vibration of my being is that I am a spark of source, and source lacks for nothing. Does that mean that I never feel insecure? No, that's not true. That insecurity is part of my human experience. And so it does show up. But when it shows up, I say, wow, oh, okay. Hi, little girl. I remember you. I've got 9 near-death experiences by the time I'm 5 years old. So I know that I've got plenty of healing that still crops up and says, hey, remember me? I'm a people pleaser because I'm afraid I'm not going to get love because we almost died a bunch of times. Like, right. Okay. I remember you. And here you go into the energy of love of all that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think this is a time too where people need to be back out there after we went through what we went through a couple of years ago, and that people became so withdrawn and inside. And I think this is saying to us, come on, we got to start being out there, bring the energy, make the energy fluid all around us. Don't be attracted to just cell phones and TVs and things like that. Come out and do your creativity. Be more creative about your space here and how you want to work with these here. And to get together to make it a better, fresh world. Like we have so many people that are so stuck. And you can label all kinds of different things like narcissism and all the rest of it. But I find that this year is about, come on, let's get this thing moving. Let's get the energy back where it's supposed to be and get that flow, so we can all come together and make this a better world to live in and help us find our bliss, It's what
Absolutely.
like be practical. Don't be this inside board anymore.
For sure. I mean, the work is inside in so much that if you're out in the world and lots of nonsense is happening around you and to you, ultimately you're attracting that as well, right? So if you're reacting to it, then that's what you're working on to heal.
Yes.
Because your soul is constantly calling in lessons so that you can bring that energy to healing and not blame the person in front of you that's offering you that opportunity to heal. We feel separate from each other because we're 8 billion people on the planet in separate bodies and separate, everything, right? Separate domiciles, separate areas, separate, finances, all the things that we experience, we all have different points of reference, if you will. But the bottom line is that even though Source wanted to experience itself through all these different beings, we do come back to the energy of one source. We do come back to the energy of, if I think about my neighbor, there's so much more that makes us the same than makes us different.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what their socioeconomic standing is.
That's right.
We all want safety. We all want love. We all want acceptance. We all want food on our table. We all want our basic needs met, right? We can get stuck in this, I'm this way and you're that way. And that's, the foolishness that we're hopefully overcoming. And don't get me wrong, judgment is one of my big constant, I always joke that I came into New York as it, like, I feel like the energy behind New York is such a judgmental, like, oh my God, did you see what she's wearing? Like, I grew up with that all the time.
Yeah.
And so I feel like part of my job in this body, in this life, is just to allow that energy to rise in me and then, again, integrate into love. Like, wow, and doesn't she look beautiful? Right. Or isn't she just rocking her own authentic self?
Yeah.
Right. She's, and to stop looking at what makes us different, but really looking at what makes us the same, because that's why we're here. We're here to be the high tide that raises all boats. We're here to remember that if it's the highest for me, it can only really be my highest if it's for the highest for all. If I have to hurt someone in order to get what I want, then I'm doing it wrong.
Yes.
That is so true.
I so agree with that.
So
And I like the way that you said that, because I think you're right. If we can look at the goodness in people, because I think as a whole, most of us are good.
Yep.
At our heart soul, I think we're all good. And so if we can look at that, like you said, instead of looking at, oh, that person's annoying because of what, well, what about them is good though? And what if that is something negative about them? Is that reflecting something on yourself and taking that into our own consciousness to be able to say, how do I shift from this so I can become even more loving?
Yeah. I find
Yeah.
with people too, I find with the energy too now, my own anyways, is if I meet up with someone and they do have a negative energy, my spirit guides go, okay, you don't have to deal with this one. Let's move on to the more positive side of where you want to be. Let them do what they need to do and have their growth. I'm not there to help everybody's growth. I know,
Also
and so if it's an energy that goes, ooh, that's icky. I'll let them do their growth, and if we happen to meet sometime down the road again, fine, we can do that while being then, right? But I find that I am a very good now at sort of going, nope, not that one. Nope, not doing that.
discernment is important. And if
Yes.
you're in an abusive situation, you don't continue it because of light and love. Like that's not okay either. There's no ifs, ands, or buts that, as we experience different aspects, someone who's harming someone else is doing so because they were harmed themselves, but that doesn't give them free reign. And while, yes, they need forgiveness,
Yeah.
they also need to work on that piece within themselves. But I'll still ask you, why would you be attracting that into your field? So like at the same time, we're meant to, for a long time, I attracted a lot of bipolar energy into my field because that was my biological mother.
Okay.
And that I experienced from her and through her. And so I had bosses, I had really interesting partnerships, bosses, friendships with people who had a lot of bipolar energy in their field. So I was a victim for the first 30 years of my life because I didn't recognize that I wasn't healing any of that stuff. And so I just kept attracting more of it colorfully into my field.
I'm going,
And then, of
no.
course, when you start the spiritual journey, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. So I'm just experiencing old energy in this now because I haven't figured out how to come into resonance, forgiveness, and love with it. Right. So the minute I could forgive my mom for not being able to be anything better than she could be because she didn't have support, or, science really didn't know what to do with bipolar. I don't even know if they knew how to identify it back then.
Right, back when.
So all the moving parts to that. So I could say, wow, she just did the best she could. And I can love her for that. And my soul chose this experience because I'm here to heal this whole lineage of all of this stuff, all the things. There's so, our soul contracts are very complex and very deep. All I can say is if it exists in the world, whatever it is, whoever it is, it also exists within us.
Yeah.
So we don't have to put up with everything by any stretch of the imagination, but if we're attracting it or if we're witnessing it, it can also be important to say, wow, is there any of that in me? And if there is, I'd love to sit with that part of me and meet that part of me in love so that I could bring healing to that piece.
Yes.
And that's all, right? Like, I agree. I don't hang around severe low vibrational energy for any extended period of time. If I feel like there's a really heavy energy, I'm out. And at the same time, if I can stand in the energy of love with that frequency, like sometimes I test myself and I open my heart chakra,
Yeah.
not allow their vibration to actually impact my field, but rather just hold the frequency of love. Sometimes I can,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm not strong enough. And I recognize that.
Yeah.
So I definitely pick and choose, but I'll always ask, like, wow, that was so. For instance, this woman, so interesting. I was walking on the trail with my dog and she threatened him with a stun gun. And he did nothing towards her for her to feel like she had to put it towards his face and threaten him. But what I realized was she was walking with anger and frustration, and it was about dogs in that moment, or she was taking it out on the dog. Either way, gratefully, she never actually touched him with it, but she scared him and she scared me.
Right.
But I realized the anger that she was walking with, and it mirrored my own anger, but it was about something else.
Okay.
Right. I wasn't about to walk up to someone with a stun gun.
Why not? No,
That seemed a little extreme. But everyone is in a different healing place or lack thereof, right? Like she doesn't know how to navigate the anger and frustration she's feeling. And so she feels like she needs a weapon to protect herself with, right? I'm not in that place, gratefully. And it doesn't mean that my vibration somewhere didn't match hers. And it took me 24 hours to figure that out. Because, of course, in the moment, I'm looking at the outward expression that happened. And I was mad that I had to protect my dog and that I thought this crazy lady, blah, 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 blah. Right.
Yeah.
But I attracted her into my field.
Somehow it happened, right?
Right. So as I was thinking, I'm like, what is this all about, spirit? Oh, this is about me, right? This is nothing to do with her. This is about me. Okay, got it. Now, where am I holding that exact vibration that she was holding? And duk, 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 there. Okay.
You see it.
Yes, right. Because again, nothing is separate. Everything comes back to us. Now, I'm not condoning her behavior, but I can forgive her and have compassion for not knowing how to navigate what she was experiencing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can hold that same compassion for myself for the anger that I was experiencing over something completely different.
Yeah.
And then I could bring that anger, which is really fear. All anger is fear. It just takes time to deduce it. I'm angry because of this, which really means this, which really means that, which means, oh, I'm afraid of this thing, and that's why I'm angry. Okay, right? My father, may he be blessed on his beautiful journey on the other side, had a lot of anxiety, and that anxiety came out as anger a lot. But he wasn't really angry. He was just really afraid all the time.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it, to think that, I find too, when I'm in a negative energy, what often I'll do is I send you all kinds of good light and energy, and I hope you find what your problem is and what you're dealing with. I don't want it. I don't want to even share it, but I mean, I do hope you find what you're looking for that's going to bring you that peace, that's going to make you that better person for you. Because I know that it didn't matter if I spent 5 minutes or 5 seconds or 1 hour with them, I probably would not have changed the perspective of what they were on at the moment, right? So
Totally.
digestive with that sort of thing. I don't know, I call it maturity.
Well, yes. It's definitely, we reach different levels of maturity, right? Like we look at the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama will not say that he doesn't experience emotion. It's that he just knows how to transmute it so quickly because he's been working on all of that since he was probably 3 years old, right? Like they start training for that energy so young, right? And we don't get emotional intelligence in our classrooms or in our environments. It takes us a lot longer because, nobody talks about it with us. That's the benefit of what's happening on the planet right now, is we can really start to have these dialogues with children.
Yes.
About their feelings, that their feelings are valid, but how they can navigate them in ways that aren't harmful for themselves or for others.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I find what's happening on the planet to be remarkable. And there's a part of me that wishes I was like 30 years younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can bear witness to these changes and shifts that are happening.
Which would be, yeah.
But I'm just grateful they're happening, and I'm not leaving the planet anytime soon. And when I do, I'm not choosing a recycle version. So
good way to put it.
Yeah. I hope that my karma will be complete by the time it's time to leave. So
yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd love to go other places in the multiverse, back to them where we've been in the past.
I feel I'm totally in the same line as you. I figured that, yeah, that's where I want to be when it comes my time. Up there in the one mind that we radiate and to enjoy so much. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think so. So if you had a final thought for the followers, what would be your final thought?
My final thought for everyone, everywhere, all the time is to find what it means within yourself to feel like you're living an authentic life and to live it with all your might. Now, I get it. We need to support ourselves. And so we might work in a corporate environment, or we might be a waitress, or we might be a locksmith, or we might have a vocation where we don't feel like we're fully able to express ourselves in that moment. But if you look at yourself as a beacon of light wherever you are, which you are, then you start to live a more authentic way, even within the constructs of those environments. You end up being the light that's needed in that corporation, in that restaurant, servicing someone's home who's locked out of their house or their car.
Yeah.
When we start living from the awareness that we are the spark of source, right? Authentic means original source, which means we are of original source.
Right.
From when we act from that authentic place, that means we're acting from love and light, right?
Yeah.
So when you find that within yourself, no matter what your day looks like, no matter who's in front of you, no matter what you're doing, you start to not only change your own life, but you start to change the lives of others around you.
Yes.
And then they start to remember that they're authentic too, that they are also of source, and they can be acting from that space. It's not about teaching people or preaching to people. It's about leading by example. And as we do that through this year of the dragon, to me, the year of the dragon is fun. I want to ride this dragon out, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to have fun with this year of the dragon, right? So, I mean, there's power behind the dragon, and the dragon can, again, have alchemy, right? Because dragons are connected to all the elements. In this case, it's the element of wood, and wood is actually a malleable substance, right? You can carve wood into the way you want it to look. Right. So you're not stuck with a metal dragon, which is harder. You need a lot of heat to change metal. With wood, you don't need as much force at all, actually. Right. So this year has a lot of potential to manifest into the ways that we want it to. And if we can find that authenticity from within ourselves, I think we'll find that the year that we are going to live through is going to really be magical. And I invite everyone to really, if you can define for yourself what it looks like to live an authentic life, I think that's a great place to start.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a wonderful message to leave everyone with, because I think that is really what we want to do. And I mean, that's one of our missions with this podcast, is to help people to find how to bring that authenticity of themselves and realize what a great light that they are shining out into the world. And like you said, regardless of what your vocation is, that you are being the best light that you can be in that vocation to, serve others.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful. So it's been such a pleasure talking with you. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure. You can all go to auroralunastar.com. So that's AURORALUNASTAR.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. You can pretty much find me on all social media. And if I do lots of different things, including retreats. I'm actually going to be facilitating a retreat in Mount Shasta for the 8/8 Gateway in August.
Nice.
For the Earth Keepers. We're going to make rattles and all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to be in Tulum, Mexico in November for the 11/11 Gateway.
Beautiful.
So and I also do one-on-one retreats actually here in Sedona. So I'd be happy to work with anyone who feels aligned.
Wonderful. Well, they sound amazing, and I think that'll be nice. And I wish you well on your sound activation when you're going to be
Thank you.
collaborating with so many
that's so beautiful.
amazing people as you are as well. But I think it's so great that we have these opportunities to get that message out into the world. And we both feel so grateful that we get to speak to such people that have such good connections, that we're all spreading this consciousness out.
Yeah. Help the world.
Oh, sorry.
No, peace to the world is what I say. Bring it on. We need it.
No, I was just going to thank you both for the opportunity. Thank you, Kim, and thank you, Barb, for creating such a beautiful platform and for allowing me to share my story, and just for, raising the vibration of the world by bringing these messages to all these people. It's very powerful, and I'm just extremely grateful for all the work that you're both doing. So thank you.
Thank you. We're grateful for what you're doing as well.
Thank you so much. We'd love to have you back sometime to share some of these maybe retreats that you've been on, and some things that you learn through them, because I know we're always learning and we're always shifting and getting those downloads. So we'd love to have you back on to share space again with you. So thank
I
you.
would love that.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
So everybody else, please tune in the next time.
Please.